Did it again.
There we go.
All right, says we're live. Says we're live. All right. Now, Hunter, how you doing?
Zach, I'm so good. We asked him to stop. Got construction going on up here. None of the technology's working. Now I'm feeling good though.
Hunter, you look better with gray hair anyway. So.
Thank you.
I try to help you with that. So I found this quote. I thought it was good. So it says, "Too many people are thinking of security instead of opportunity. They seem more afraid of life than of death."
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. David Doris told me once. He said, if you have two doors to choose. One is freedom and the other is security. If you choose security, you get neither.
It sounds like a Doris.
Sounds like a David Doris.
Reminds me of the best movie ever, which is.
Oh, we were just talking about Ron Burgundy?
No.
Okay, no.
There's a couple choices. Little Miss Sunshine.
Ooh, pretty good.
Shawshank Redemption, though, is probably. And there's old Red says, "Get busy living or get busy dying."
That's right.
It's kind of like this.
That's good.
Tim,
what's the actor's name?
Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins. I got to meet him. He is really tall.
Yeah. I think he says it too. I think both Red and Andy Dufresne.
Andy Dufresne. That was a good movie. Gosh, I got to watch that again.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you grateful for today?
Whew. Everything's working, I think. We're live. Everybody's here.
What are you all grateful for today? Since Hunter's just, thinking about what he's
grateful for a lot.
Will, what are you grateful for? You're grateful that I'm on time.
I'm grateful that Zach has improved being on time over the years.
That I've improved being on time. Somebody told me once, and this was a magnificent piece of wisdom. They said, "Zach, you're late everywhere." I'm like, I know, but I just, I look at my watch and I think I've always got a couple more minutes to finish one more thing. And they said, you have to focus on your leave time, not your appointment time. Yeah. And that has made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
So, words to live by. Anything else you're grateful for?
That'll do it.
All right, that'll do it. Sounds good.
I'll add some in my comedy corner coming up.
There you go. Well, we got a little update from Teddy Pins. I haven't watched this, so you never know what's gonna come out, but this will be fun. Let's see. Oh wait! Oh no! Was this the last week's?
In the background, it's Teddy Pins here with the Village Education Update for the week. It's Tuesday.
I think that was last week's. All right. Well, oh man, that stinks. Let's see here.
I think it's down low. I think it's slide 11, isn't it?
Ah, here we go. We're gonna see this. Just gonna do it this way.
Good morning, Village family. Now for this guy. Hey, it's Teddy Pins here, Education Director for Village, giving you the
Cardboard
education
cutout.
updates for the week. So today at 10:30, just following today, we're going to have clear cooperation training. So this is the 2.0 taught by the experts themselves. This is Bobby Joe Nugent with Real Track's going to be teaching at 10:30. That's on Zoom. Tomorrow, our weekly Thrive call. Do it with me. One of the things we do is box breathing. So if you want, I'll invite you to do a round of that. Close your eyes. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4.
Good.
Out for 4. Hold for 4. So soothing, right? Okay, and then on Thursday, Rebecca's going to be teaching C2EX for professional development. This is a great certification through Realtor.com, or the National Association, and that's on Thursday from 2 to 3. Thursday, 2 to 3. Your tech tip, you want it, and I got it. At the website key.me, KEY.me, is a place that you can go to a kiosk and get a scan of your key made, and then it'll save that image. It doesn't use tracing, it does a 3D image of it, and then you'll always have those keys to make copies in the future, so you'll never actually have to have the key on you. So,
Sounds like something out of Mission Impossible.
Clients, there's kiosks at the Kroger's and Lowe's and all over the place, and it's rumored that you can maybe even take a picture of a key and go get a copy made, but I don't think that technology fully made it through. So, but anyhow, KEY.me. There's various companies that will store key copies for you, but very, very handy. And even though I think keys are becoming a bit of a thing of the past, we still use them, and certainly nice to have for things alternative like trailers. And I'll tell you too, if you need padlocks, you can buy padlocks and key them to your car key. Forget the name of the company on that. I'll share that next week. Have a great week. We'll see you today after sales meeting for Clear Cooperation. Teddy Pins. Oh.
Hey Hunter, can I borrow your keys? I left something here.
Yeah, no. You're not copying my keys.
No, I just wanted to run to Kroger to get some milk. It was, no? Okay.
That was kind of an analog tech tip of the day.
And analog. It was like an anti-tech tip.
Yeah, I like that.
That's cool. So, all right. So this is really important. So I get, and all the brokers are still getting a ton of questions on clear cooperation. So please take some time and tune in at 10:30 today. That's going to be, Teddy sent the Zoom link out. It's also on the shared village calendar. You probably don't want to try to copy it from here. But that is a really valuable piece. I think there's still plenty of confusion about what it is, what you can do, what you can't do, what you're supposed to do, timing, etc. So
This was rolled out like
this was rolled out
nationally
back
by
in
NAR,
May.
NAR,
Well,
or is it our local?
This is the NAR.
It's the whole national thing.
Yeah, rolled out May 1st. It's been kind of a staged rollout, and then COVID sort of threw it for a loop a little bit. But bottom line is, it's there.
And people are starting to get kind of dinged here and there for
Yeah,
a little bit, right?
I don't know if anybody. I'd be curious if any of our agents have gotten dinged. I haven't heard of that. Have you heard of anything? Okay, so it's possible. I think there's probably a little bit of grace period, but at the end of the day, we want to be doing the right thing, and the whole idea behind it, the spirit behind it, is to make sure that your sellers have the best chance of getting their home exposed to most people, and that we as realtors continue working together to sell homes, because that's how most homes are sold. So headshots. That is.
That already happened.
There we go.
Told you,
Slide
slide 11.
Slide 11. There you go. Here we go. I just doubled up a couple slides. That's what I
Yeah.
did. It's all good. It's all good. Just technology.
Yeah.
2020.
not
Hashtag
stressing
2020.
about it.
Thanks 2020. So Andrea Woodard. I think most of you know Andrea. If you don't, she's one of the brokers, part of the broker team in the 21st office and in general at Village. And so Colin has been handling this in the past, and Colin is our principal broker now. So she's taking on a lot more duties. So Andrea is going to take over the onboarding and interviewing process of agents, both new and existing agents that want to join Village. So if you know any agents that would be great here, I think what makes this company awesome is the spirit of collaboration and the work that we can all do together. And so if you find people that you like working with, tell Andrea about them, and we can set up a time to talk to them. So we don't want to take everybody, but we like taking the best. Rachel, how you doing? You want to come up and talk? So Rachel has been asking me over and over again, can I please get on camera?
Some screen time.
Can I please get on camera, because I miss it, and I feel so comfortable doing that. So
that's not true. Where do I look?
you can just look right here. How about that?
Good morning, everybody. I didn't know my name was
Sure.
going to be typed in. This was a planned thing.
So what are you seeing out there?
So in the world,
In the world, at Village, you know.
I guess just a couple positive things that I can share about. Usually when Zach asks me to share on gratitude, I talk about the weather or something silly. And as the world is falling apart all around us, there's a lot of good going on also. A lot of, in my Thistle Farms world. So now we have 4 Thistle Farms women, including me, who have bought a house, first-time home buyers, from Village, our Village people. Yeah. That's huge. I have one specific friend. She's 45 years old. She's been in drug addiction for about 30 years. She just closed on her house Friday. First time ever. She's applied to college. She comes here and studies in our conference rooms, and just doing it. I think it's wonderful. You know, if we all die from this virus, at least we'll die sober and happy and with our own house. Anyway, there's a lot of good things going on. Another friend, she just got, a car. Someone here gave her a car, 20 years, hasn't had somebody here. Gave her a car. I know, you guys, and she's so cute. She takes it to the shop every day and buys new parts every day, and knows a lot more about cars than I do, and she hasn't driven in 20 years. But it's just, taking these little things that we take for granted every day that mean the absolute world to other people. And we have no idea what things mean to people. And it's just beautiful to see those kinds of joys in life. And then, I was recently driving home a few weeks ago and saw somebody had 2 dogs who were chained up. We see that all the time. And so I pulled over and there was a cat chained to a tree also. 2 dogs chained to a tree and a cat. I got out, I just simply asked the owner, hey, can I have your cat? Not knowing what I was getting myself into. And he gave the baby to me. So I saved the cat and we got one of his dogs off the chain into a home. And, you just ask and you shall receive. And I now have 3 cats, and she is a little she-devil, and she drives me crazy. But, we were able to save her life. So anyway, those are just a few
That's awesome.
few good things.
Do you have any questions?
Well, everyone here thinks so much of Rachel, but Thistle Farms really does too. So you've been on the board now there for a year, and besides all this stuff, connecting people to Village, you've gotten partnerships going with some apartment communities and getting people housing and doing all sorts of awesome things. So it's just like, what you do for us and then for others is just really meaningful and emotional, really. It's just awesome. So, but no more cats, right?
No more cats.
You can't have any more cats. 3 is plenty.
But if you find another one, Hunter's looking for one. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have one. You can have JoJo.
Don't do cats.
Dash might like JoJo. Yeah, and you guys, I love you guys. Village is my family. And so it's fun to just be able to intertwine Village and Thistle Farms and see all the good that can happen in the community when there's so much craziness going on. It's still just help each other out. And y'all always teach that. So
Awesome.
thanks.
Thank you.
I love y'all.
Thanks, Rachel. That was great. So that's a good reminder, just to segue real quick. Village Fund is obviously a big piece of it. I think last year you all, agents, gave around $100,000 to the Village Fund, which is just insane. That blows my mind. It makes me so proud. So really good work.
And then we give as a company out of our profits to match those gifts, and so it is important to keep that going and keep that in front of your mind. If you need help or don't know what the Village Fund does, it's basically a way to take some of the friction out of giving for you. So agents, you still get the credit and you still get to direct your gift exactly where you want it to go. So if it's Thistle Farms, you can direct it there. If it's Habitat for Humanity, or any legal 501c3 you can donate to, goes in with your name, and then if you want to do a percentage out of each closing or just a flat dollar amount out of each closing, just so that it's kind of out of sight and just happens as you go, Susan can set that up for you. So I'd encourage everybody to do that.
Means a lot. We got a little Connolly Corner action. What do we have today?
A lot to cover, Zach. So, we got a new mural in East Nashville.
I'm having trouble keeping up with them.
Well, people might be able to see that new mural if you go to the next slide. There it is.
Is that Dolly?
That's Dolly.
Hey, Dolly?
Oh, thank goodness for Dolly Parton. She's
She's having a good hair day there.
she's probably the smartest, most humble, genuine celebrity in the world. Period, Zach. Did you know that?
It's good.
So you see the inscription at the top of the mural. It says, if you can't read, you kind of see it. And then the next slide has, of course, Black Lives Matter. Do we think our little white asses are the only ones that matter? No. That's straight from Dolly. In her own little way. But I could go on forever. The next slide about Dolly. She is 74 years old.
Wow.
And in the 56 years since she took a bus the day after her high school graduation, she's had 25 #1 singles, the most of any female country artist. She's also the only one to have a top 20 hit in each of the decades from 1960 through the 2010s.
That's cool.
She's an incredible business person too. You know about Dollywood and Pigeon Forge, and she credits her business sense to her father, who was illiterate, and he scraped together enough to support his 12 children and raise his 12 children. So she said, even though my daddy didn't get an education, he was really smart in making deals and bargaining and how he raised his family. And so he's the inspiration behind her imagination library, and they've given 140 million books to date for kids to help them learn how to read.
Have y'all used that? I got a handful of them. We got a bunch of people.
Yeah, so
If you've got kids and you're not signed up for that, sign up for it. It's incredible.
But her daily grinds, actually, like I said, 74. She's kind of reinvented herself several times and is really strong these days. She starts her day about 4 a.m. to go through a list of items with her kind of manager and co-leader.
So Dolly starts at 4. That means you start at 4 for the manager.
Yeah. I mean, I just love how she focuses on her brand, her companies, her employees. Her schedule really resembles that of like a tech CEO that's in with a cult following. But in addition to the music and Dollywood, she was also the author of 5 books. She's also the owner of Sand Dollar Productions, which co-produced the cult hit Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show. She has a recent Netflix series that was nominated for an Emmy Award. So she just got her hands in a number of things. 2020 has been an interesting year for her. She has kind of taken on the role of comforter-in-chief for a lot of people. So she was busy she had to shut down Dollywood. They were opening it in March, just temporarily. They're kind of back open right now, but she donated $1 million to Vanderbilt University for their COVID-19 research fund, recorded hand-washing videos, and read bedtime stories for children, released some new songs. Anyway, she's always stayed true to who she is, about even staying relevant in the Black Lives Matter movement and having a passion for that. She's just a really good person, and she had a stage, or kind of where people would perform at Dollywood, called the Dixie Stampede, and she realized that Dixie being a throwback to the Confederacy and offending some African Americans, she said, there's such a thing as innocent ignorance, and so many of us are guilty of that. And so when they said Dixie was an offensive word, well, I thought, I don't want to offend anybody. And so we'll just call it the Stampede. She changed the name. She says, as soon as you realize something is a problem, you should fix it. Don't be a dumbass. That's where my heart is.
That's going to be the quote.
I would never dream of hurting anyone on purpose. And so that just sums up Dolly Parton. I just thought that was interesting.
That was
74.
Funny. Unreal.
All right, so some local news. Facebook formally announced Wednesday that the social media giant is going to build an $800 million data center in Gallatin.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they'll store, it's one of the largest single business investments on record.
$800 million.
Yes. So the facility will store photos, videos, posts from Facebook, their sister platforms, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. And the employees hired for this facility will earn, on average, $80,000, which is about $25,000 more than the median household income in Gallatin. So, big news.
This is big news.
More good news on the real estate front. The National Association of Home Builders, their consumer confidence rose 6 points this month to the highest reading since December of 1998. It's a long time ago.
Wow.
So this metric reflects builder confidence in the market for newly constructed single-family homes. And new construction homes is a real big boost to the job market. A lot of jobs, including some realtor jobs, are based around strong new construction going on. So that's an important data point for us to track. Also, some other news, bank repossessions of homes have plunged. Now, a lot of that, most of it is due to regulations prohibiting foreclosures for banks and evictions, and but it's down 80% year over year, and so that's a big reduction. The thinking is, among most economists, is that due to the record levels of homeowner equity and the limited supply in the market of homes, that we shouldn't see a big spike in foreclosures once the moratorium on the foreclosures ends, which should happen the end of this month, I believe.
Okay.
So anyway, something tracking. So that data, 88% less foreclosures, kind of does run counter to the fact that 32% of households either missed or did not pay their full housing payments in
30?
July.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, so like 32% or 36% of renters and 30% of homeowners either made less than full payments or no payments at all. So
that's interesting, because I was thinking it might be more renters, just because
It
you
is-
can't really
it
get
is.
foreclosed from a rent. You can get evicted, but you can't really get foreclosed. So
Yeah.
foreclosure seems like it'd be a scarier, longer term hit. Wow, that's interesting.
yeah.
So that's probably has to do with some of the the stimulus halts, I would imagine. Just like the gaps or the
Yeah, I mean, I think the
steep
main
gaps.
driver is just, the small business wreckage in that's going on due to the pandemic that's where a lot of people are employed. So your restaurants that are 50% full, bars that are closed, a lot of the service economy, tourism that's way down. I mean, you're just seeing a lot of that kind of start to permeate through the market. And so it's kind of interesting. It's a pretty huge number, 32% not having made their housing payment, which is really the most important payment a lot of people consider. Some of that's due, they know they can't get evicted or they know they can't get foreclosed on, but still, they're still responsible for it. It's
Yeah.
not like it's waived. And
Yeah.
so,
So you miss it, then the next month it's double.
Double, exactly.
Yeah, that's tough.
and this chart is crazy. Both these last two slides came from Ann Nilsson, who's likes to geek out on the economic data.
I love that.
She's got some range. But this V-shaped recovery, most recessions, as you can see, kind of in the upper. So what we've got here on your left axis is the percent of job losses, and then that's your y-axis. Yeah, that's on your vertical side. Your horizontal side is measuring the number of months from peak employment. So we started in March, and you see we immediately shot down more drastically than any other recession that we've ever had. And then, as you can see, most of those recessions are kind of longer, more U-shaped recoveries, and we are coming back in a V-shaped fashion, which is unusual, and hopefully it just keeps heading that way.
Hopefully we don't have a W.
Hopefully we don't have a W, or whatever it would be, a check that just keeps kind of.
It's like anyway. That's interesting. One little just tip, I can never remember x-axis and y-axis. And,
Yeah.
Somebody told me that if you think of a Y has the line coming down at the bottom of a Y, like the vertical line.
That's a good way to do it. Thank you for that. I'll never forget that again.
Probably will never use that, but
So the theme that we've been talking about over the last few weeks of residential real estate strength continues. This article was interesting. Nothing really new other than this is from the Zillow founder, and he's explaining why residential is still booming. But he calls it the great reshuffling, which I thought, you add a tagline to something, it just makes it all that more important. But real estate is definitely a seller's market in residential world, but not so much in commercial. And so that's the reshuffling. And basically, it's what we've talked about as Americans are spending an average of 9 more hours a day in their homes. The importance of the home is...
Say that one more time. 9 more
Americans are
hours a day. I
spending,
guess
on average, 9 more hours at home per day.
Wow.
So otherwise, they might be in the office or running around to eating out and entertainment stuff, and so they're not doing any of that now. And so it's the home's taken on more of a focus than office and especially retail. So the great reshuffling. And then we've also talked about how suburban markets have been on a tear, kind of at the expense of urban markets. And the more I'm reading about this, the more it's, there's actually a couple of urban markets that are really struggling. Those are New York and San Francisco, your most dense and highest priced markets. Other urban markets
High
are
prices,
doing,
no yard.
yeah, other urban markets are doing really, like urban areas in Nashville are doing really well. And so this data from the Wall Street Journal highlights that, mirrors what we've seen kind of as Village. A lot of our agents focus kind of in the urban part of Nashville. And so,
Or the urban part of Franklin.
or the urban part of Franklin. So anyway, interestingly, the data, when you look at national data, New York and San Francisco is really pulling the urban areas down. New listings in Manhattan went up 87% in terms of the number of new listings. So we talk about how supply is so tight here, and that's creating bidding wars and things like that. In New York, their listings were up 87%, and San Francisco, same thing. Their inventory like doubled year over year. They're the most expensive housing markets. The median sales price in Manhattan in July plunged 39.6%. It's a big drop.
It's a big drop. That'll probably be somewhat of a V, maybe. You think?
Think so? Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
Nationally,
y'all,
we're up.
y'all chime in on the chat.
Nationally,
I'd be
we're
curious
up
to see what everybody
4.2%.
thinks.
So, yeah. I mean, it'll come back for sure. The question is, will there be some lingering? Like, I can work from anywhere now. Do I really need to live in this super expensive city that feels really tight?
Yeah.
Anyway. So dealing with, just quickly dealing, if you're dealing with buyers who want to move to the suburbs, kind of 2 different options to think about. One, and one that Steve Schaefer used in Chicago, he just kind of expanded his reach. Traffic's down, easier to get to the suburban areas. He just expanded, and he's taken more clients to the suburbs. On the other hand, a New York agent, he's like, that's not my expertise. I'm going to refer those out, and he created kind of a partnership program with peers to refer them out. So again, neither one is necessarily right. One of those methods is probably right for you. And so if it's refer it out to, we have got agents who do a lot of work in Mount Juliet, if you don't want to hop in your car and spend a day getting to know that suburb. Anyway, just keep that in mind as you're serving your clients. Good news, the bars can open as of yesterday, a little bit. So our COVID-19 numbers in Nashville are improving. And so yesterday, bars and limited service restaurants were allowed to reopen to a maximum of 25 guests, or however many can be socially distanced.
So a lot of the bars, if they serve food, they're able to
Yeah.
kind of get around that.
So bars have been closed since July 3rd. It's a long time.
That's tough if you're in a bar.
Yeah. So finally, Zach, remember last week we did the odds chart? Who is going to be Biden's vice president?
Yeah.
You know who it is?
Harris.
Yes. Can you pronounce her first name? This is
Let's
important.
see. Is it Kamala or Kamala?
Yes, it's the latter. It's like
Kamala Harris. I thought,
like
I thought it was
like a
Kamala, and then I
punctuation
started
mark.
to say it, and it sounded like I was
I know.
saying it wrong, and I got embarrassed.
Kamala Harris.
Shamed. Now Hunter's shaming me.
Put you on the spot. I'm really going to put you on. So she is the first female African American and first Asian American on a presidential ticket. She's the third vice president nominee. Can you name the other two?
I don't know, you gotta prep me for these things.
No, it's fun.
Who
Okay, we got
can
some,
name the other two?
So we got
I'm gonna put it to the audience.
Colin
Phone a
said Geraldine Ferraro in
Right.
1984 ran with Walter Mondale. Yes.
All right, one
And
lifelong news, thanks, Colin.
and then there's one, I knew that one, I guess, I don't know why, but I drew a blank on the second one.
Anybody?
Colin,
Oh no, I'm ashamed of my gender.
think recent.
Yeah, it's, what's her name?
Think kind
Oh, McCain and Palin, Sarah Palin.
Yes, Sarah Palin.
That's a good point. I was like digging back in history.
I know, I did the same thing. I was
Okay.
like,
You set us up for that though.
yeah.
Well, you know. All right, that's fair.
So the Democratic convention started last night, and that's
And
going
then, so
on.
Democrats started last night is this week, and then I think the Republican convention is next week.
It's either next week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I haven't started looking at next week yet.
That'll be interesting to watch. Well, thanks for the Connolly Corner update.
Yeah.
Connie, you want to come talk about rates?
Come on,
They're
guys.
still pretty darn good. So we've got 2.5% 30-year fixed. It looks like as of yesterday. You can get over there. And 15-year went up a hair as of yesterday from 2.125 to 2.5% or 2.225%. But what are you seeing out there? What are you? How's the activity applications?
Oh,
What are
gosh,
you seeing?
crazy. It's nuts. Last week we posted on Facebook about there was an announcement for that 0.5 point fee for refis. If you saw that, but
So talk about that a little bit.
yeah. So FHFA, which is they regulate Fannie and Freddie, came out just like overnight, out of the blue, just said we're imposing a 0.5 point charge for refinances.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean a 0.5 point in the cost of the rate. It doesn't, like the rate doesn't go up 0.5 point, but the cost to get that loan now was a 0.5 point that was imposed. So,
So 1 point is 1% of the loan.
I'm sorry? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a 0.5 point kind of fee.
Right.
So if it's
It's a
if
half
it's
a
a
point fee. Exactly.
$200,000 loan, a 0.5 point would be $1,000. Okay.
Exactly.
In order to get a 2.5% rate, you pay
Correct.
$1,000.
So, and most lenders,
refi.
their margins are still pretty strong, so they've just kind of absorbed that.
Yeah.
But you're gonna see on a refinance maybe 2.625 or 2.75. So it hasn't impacted the purchase rates, which is good. So it's really great for you guys. So I mean, rates are still amazing, and even for a refinance, even if you're looking at 2 5/8,
That's insane.
it's still, yeah. So we are seeing a ton of applications still.
So really good,
Appraisals.
really good reason to reach out to past clients, talk to them about the
Yeah.
refinance, tell them about the 0.5 point piece. Look on the Village exclusive Facebook page if you need some more info on that. But just a really, really strong value add. If you're not doing that, I promise you somebody else is talking to them. So reach out to your people, talk to them, be the source of the good and accurate
Yeah,
information.
and just real quick, because of all this volume, appraisals are taking a little bit longer.
Appraisals are taking a little longer, that's huge. So order the appraisals. Sometimes people will wait until after a home inspection. I'm seeing a lot of 10-day home inspection requests come through with a
Yeah.
35, 30-day closing. So if you wait till that gets through, that's your 15 days in, and then an appraisal gets ordered, you might not have an appraisal come in back until
In time,
a couple
yeah.
days before closing, and that is not an ideal situation.
Right.
So yeah, if you're a listing agent, you might consider putting in there that the buyer's agent orders the appraisal, within a couple days of
Yeah,
a binding agreement.
because we can always cancel
Just
an
tighten it
appraisal.
up. Yep.
So we really like to try to get those appraisals ordered as soon as possible. And then if you're waiting for an inspection, we can always cancel it, but it's better to have it in at least in the works.
We just closed a big deal, and I had a panic moment because of that, and I called you and I was like, we got to get the appraisal order, and she's like, oh, we took care of that a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
It's almost back. Good work. So thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Connie. All right. So Greater Nashville appreciation rates. Hunter, now time to quiz you. Do you remember what the average annual appreciation rate is for the Greater Nashville MSA over the last 40 years?
4.2%.
Pretty close. Anybody else have a gander? 4.3. I heard 4.2. Did I get a $1? It was 4.6%.
Oh,
So this is also from FHFA.gov, tracks appreciation rates for MSA housing markets. So the Nashville MSA is comprised of like Davidson County, Murfreesboro, Franklin. It's the big picture, right? So if you look at annual appreciation rates, they peaked out in 2010 at just over 10%. 2016 at just over 10%. And then 2017 was almost 10% at 9.7, and then it went to 8.5, and then 5.5, closer to that median or that average last year. The first quarter of 2020 was 1.3%. So I'd be curious, what do you think the second quarter will show? Put a comment in there. Put a comment in the box with what you'd guess. 3 months worth, so that's 1 quarter of a year, right? So last year was 5.5. 1 quarter would be about 1.25 per quarter, which is kind of what we saw at the first quarter. So I don't know. See what you think. Put your comment in the box, and then we'll.
when will we get that?
Pretty soon. It usually I'm actually surprised it hasn't come out yet. So it's always a few months delayed because they've got to aggregate the data and comprise it. But we should be getting it any minute. I was actually pulled this up today, expecting to see it. So we'll have it soon. Some tools, 40X. So if you have not checked your email since yesterday, 40X sent out an application. We have 56 slots. We're launching this. All the brokers are taking on a new group. We're going to run it to the end of the year, so the next 3.5 months. We're going to do a contracts goal again to help you tackle whatever is your goal. We'll help you define your goal and help you tackle that through the 40X program, which again is 4 disciplines of execution. The first discipline is defining your goal. The second one is defining your lead measures, which are the things that you can do in order to achieve that goal, right? Because I can't just say, I want to sell 10 houses the rest of the year. I hope it happens, right? It doesn't work. You got to do things. And so what do? Well, there's a zillion ways to do this business. And so what most agents do is they end up trying to do 9 billion of those zillion things, and they end up being a master at none of them. So the idea is to focus on less in order to achieve more. So we'll help you define those lead measures and then create a scoreboard to make it fun. And then the weekly accountability groups last 20 minutes. They're going to happen in the mornings on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So you can pick a day or any day that works, and we'll try to align the groups based on that. So please fill that out this week if you're interested. Again, 56 slots, so we may not be able to get everybody in this time, but we got a lot of people that really want to do this. So.
Plus, you can build some relationships, get a little.
Oh, it's incredible.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
Do them over Zoom. You can probably start to do it.
Yeah, do them over Zoom.
Small
We talked
enough,
about
we can do
some
big
people
enough.
wanting to do them,
Use this
in this big room here. So we'll figure out a way to make it all work. But
That's awesome.
Sign up. Just some info on that. We talked about that. A couple tips. Mindset Monday. This came out yesterday. I got a lot of. I don't know if this was a unique one. I sent it out in the morning, which is probably helpful. That was good feedback.
Sometimes Mindset Monday turns into Mindset Tuesday.
Thanks, Hunter. Shaming again. Thanks. Woo, man, it's a rough morning. But
I'm sorry. These things are amazing that you do. I shouldn't be critical.
It's all good.
It would
It's all
take
good.
me like till Thursday to get it done.
I actually recorded that on Sunday evening, so that was the key. So I'm learning. But anyway, this was a good piece. A couple of nuggets from that. I see this a lot, and especially now, I think that we're at home, we're not engaging with. You got to really be proactive to engage with other agents, and so I encourage you to do that. But when we get isolated, we get stuck in our own heads, and we can kind of be our own worst enemy, right? And so when faced with one of just hundreds of decisions throughout a transaction, a lot of times we can freeze up, right? And so that like fight, flight, freeze response, right? We just freeze. Hopefully we don't fight or flight, but we can freeze. And so just one kind of tactical solution to that is to just figure out what the issue is. Before talking to your clients, make a list of all the possible scenarios that you think could happen, right? So if it's a goofy inspection, well, maybe that's really stressful. The foundation came back, or there's mold, or whatever it is, right? Well, one option is we can offer them credit. One option is we can say no. One option is we can call and get a quote from a mold remediator, right? The more options you have, the more likely you are to gather facts, and you can help tamp down some of the emotion with it. And when you do that, you're really being a good leader and a good guide to your client. But with each of those scenarios, the goal is to try to find those are the choices, right? And then what are the consequences to each of those? So, if you say no, they might walk, right? Or you might not have to do any repairs. Those are the possible consequences. Pretty risky, right? If we offer them, so anyway, you get the idea, but Ninja talks about this a lot. You control the process and your clients control the decision. So I think sometimes we get stressed as agents that, I don't know what to do. I don't know what the right answer is, right? And we get scared. Fear kicks in, and we have fear, right? And that's because we don't know what the right answer. But most big
say that again. You control the process.
You control the process. So as agents, we control the process, right? I'm your guide. Here's what we got to do. This. Here are the options as I see them. A, B, and C. Let's go through all the choices. all the consequences of each option, right? Kind of the pros and cons of each, and then let's collaboratively help you make an informed and educated and thoughtful decision, as opposed to just reacting on your gut. But again, fear kicks in, especially if you're not in your normal routine engaging with other agents. And so, but our clients are scared too, right? That's why they hire us. And I think sometimes people say, oh, this is really hard. It's tough decisions. Well, of course it is. That's why they hire us. Because if it was easy, they'd just do it on their own and we wouldn't have a job. So the fact that these decisions are complicated is a good thing. So, but just remember that your clients have fear as well. And then remember that we're the professionals. And if we can explain with clarity the process and act as a guide in the transaction, you're going to have a lot of success. You control the process, they control the decision. So that's good. Quick just tip, Facebook group, there's the Village exclusive Facebook group, and then we have the email list. And nobody's doing this right or wrong, but the idea is to use the Facebook group for collaborative discussions. If you have vendor requests, open house requests, any open house needs, and then try to limit the email list to Village announcements or any urgent information, things like that, just to everybody's trying to tackle our emails, and so try to move some of those over to the Village exclusive Facebook page and check that daily, because there's a lot of really, really awesome stuff happening there. Coming soon, the Vandy Camps, Leanne and Anna Shea have a broker open this Thursday, August 20th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it is the Westwood Flats in the Nations, and they have those are in the 475 range, and then there's a one bedroom with looks like one full and 2 half baths, almost a 1,200 square foot one bedroom for $340,000. That's great. So go check that out Thursday, August 20th, over lunch. And then if you have any other coming soons, enter those in right after the meeting, and then we'll send that out as here in a little bit. But I left the Broad West slide in. Anyway, Broad West is open. Go check out the sales center. We did talk about a lot of people have said, hey, can we come see the sales center? We're trying to limit the appointments, and so we talked about maybe even doing like a little sales meeting down there, or post sales meeting,
be good.
Kind of visit
Do it
Village
from,
Village open. Yeah,
from there.
be fun. So anyway, we'll talk about that maybe in a week or two. Takeaways? That was good.
A lot.
There's a lot of good stuff today. So please tune into this Clear Cooperation at 10:30 this morning with Bobby Joe. That's really important. Understand it. We're getting a ton of questions on it. So if you haven't thought to ask questions, then you're probably not totally familiar with it either, I'm guessing. So tune in, and the Zoom link's in your inbox. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, y'all.
Let's get Lloyd up next time.
Yeah.
Good job, team.
Good work, Lloyd. Lloyd, we need to get you up here.